I feel like in Ratatouille, when the little rat sits on the guy's head and like pulls his hair and then like makes him do things and stuff. I don't know why I was like milking a cow there, but he makes him do things. That's what it feels like to have Tourette's, is having a little rat on top of your head, just making you do random things and say random things, and you didn't mean to say them. So it's fine, it's fine, it's casual, it's all good. Bingo, I'm a dingo. Woo, what's your cat doing here? It's made of cheese. Shut up and dance, okay. I'm gonna talk about my Tourette's, even though it makes me nervous. I'm gonna have to keep looking at y'all, sorry. I need to look at you, not me. It's just, it's fascinating as it is for you, for, you know, neurotypical people to look at people with Tourette's and be like, that's fascinating, their body just suddenly moves. Girl, same, I'm also fascinated. So it's just interesting to see it from both angles, being in my body and looking at it in a film. So today is the day before Advocacy Day in the US for Tourette syndrome, and I am finally making myself sit down and make this video because I have spent about a year procrastinating it. My YouTube channel is aptly named Poecrastinator, get it? Because I'm Raven, Edgar Allan Poe, Raven, Poecrastinator. Okay, it's not that funny. I enjoy it. We're gonna take it on back to 1998, 1999, when I was first diagnosed, at the age of 7. My sister was diagnosed first. We both exhibited pretty similar, but pretty mild tics. I had eye-rolling tics, and she definitely had a squeaking tic, where she would be like, we had little squeaks, or I would make like a mouse face, I think, like scrunch my face like that, I don't really know. I had the eye-rolling one for sure, where people thought I was being rude in class, but I needed to like roll my eyes in the right, like, so that all around the eyeball had the same amount of pressure from pushing the eyeball around. That to me is an OCD tic, still related to Tourette syndrome, but when it has to feel a certain way, I at least personally think of it as OCD versus a Tourette tic where it just suddenly happens. And it's like, well, that happened, I guess. So at age 7, I was taken to the doctor along with my sister. My mother had seen a video of my great-grandfather, my grandfather, I'm not really sure, where he appeared to be ticking. And that was her thought of like, this must be where it came from. Like, she did all this research, took us to multiple doctors, and Tourette's is not just tics. There are many other symptoms involved, some of which include comorbidities like anxiety, depression, ADHD, OCD, autism. There's just a lot of different suck a dick. There are many comorbidities. We're just gonna leave it there. You know, some people grow up not knowing. So my mom took us to tons of different doctors, made sure we found someone who was a specialist. And luckily we were in the Boston area where I always refer to like the medical mecca of the US. And so we finally got our diagnoses. And I grew up from the age of 6 or 7, thinking that was just like a pretty normal thing to, you know, get to be special and get called out of school because you have a psychiatrist appointment, and like, you know, when you're a kid and you go to the doctor, sometimes you get a treat, and so like it never felt like a bad thing to me having Tourette's. I was never made fun of in middle school, which looking back I'm really surprised at. I never really had a reason to bring it up to people. I did take medicine for it, so when I went on to Nature's Classroom, is this overnight nature camp that you can do in Massachusetts, and so when I went to that, I remember having to, you know, give your medicine to the health person there, and then because you're a kid, you're like 9 or 10. I had a classmate be like, why do you have to take special medicine, blah, blah, blah. I believe I just was like, oh, because I have tics. And they're like, oh my gosh. They thought I had like the bug tic. No, I just do weird stuff sometimes. At the time, that's what it was. Now I do weird stuff all the time. I had those types of pretty mild tics from ages 7 to 10. But by the time I was 10, 11, it just kind of, you know, they were barely around. I think I even went off medication at that point. You know, I just kind of forgot I even had Tourette's, honestly, until I was 15. So 5 years go by. This is what's so weird. There's no real true pattern. So 7 to 10, I ticked kind of mildly. And then at 15, 2 days before Thanksgiving, my sophomore year of fucking college. No, it was my sophomore fucked up of high school. my sophomore, nope, I can't say that word now. I don't know why. So in high school, at 15, I fucked a cat. I didn't do that, but I did get re-diagnosed, not really, with Tourette's, because I woke up 2 days before Thanksgiving and I wasn't able to stop moving. Like I'm telling you, like full arms, full legs, stomping, scrunching my whole body up and down. I'm sitting, you can't really see, I'm like, my knees are here, but scrunching, something bending, like tons of really big, complex motor movements. And I recognized it for what it was. Like I remember distinctly the night before waking up with it again. I remember my head turning suddenly really sharply, and that was a tic I had as a kid. And I remember thinking like, whoa, that was really reminiscent of a tic. Hope I don't have that come back. And then the next day, that's when it was like, I could not stop moving for more than 20 seconds at a time. So this was even more unusual, just the fact that one, it came back, which isn't necessarily unusual, but there wasn't a lot of fucked up cats out there. There was fucked up cats. There wasn't a lot of information out there. We didn't know what was happening. So mom's like, did something else happen? With the theories were, did she have a mini stroke in her sleep? Is there something related to epilepsy? I don't really know why. So at 15, I'm a dad and I'm horse shit. Okay. So 15, woke up, couldn't stop moving with them. Definitely needed accommodations in high school for that. I did have one or two kind of, I had a tic attack on the soccer field that was kind of embarrassing, but also a very sweet moment with my sister when she was trying to protect me while I'm middle of having a tic attack in a very public environment. With my cat, it's on fire. Whee! So funny what tics come out when I'm on camera, because some of them aren't super frequent, but they only are when I'm thinking about it and I'm trying to film. Or maybe they're just new for this week. I don't know. It's hard to tell. So, 15, was re-diagnosed. Took a bunch of different, brain scans. They had to put me out because telling someone with Tourette's, hey, you need to sit very, very, very still for us to use this machine to take images of your brain. Do not move a muscle. Okay, I'll try my best not to move like bro. So they put me to sleep for that. And I do remember that, I really like this story. I don't know why. I remember coming out of the coma. No, I was comatose. No, I was coming out of the anesthesia, and I remember sitting up and looking up this woman next to me. She was a staff member. She was probably some type of tech or nurse. I'm not really sure. She was wearing scrubs. She was bending down, doing something near the bed that they had rolled me out into. And I just turned to look at her, and I just say a string of gibberish, but with a Spanish accent. And she looks at me panicked. She's like, I'm so sorry, I don't speak Spanish. And I was like, me neither. I'm just really curious. I'm like, did they tell you about me? Did they tell you what might happen? I don't speak the language. My brain probably just thinks they sound nice. And so they're like, let's make this sound. But we don't know the language, so we'll just make the sounds of it. Okay, that sounds good. So from 15 to 17-ish, yeah, I had tics. They weren't so bad. After that first year or so, that first year was definitely bad. Then it started calming down. I was attempting to take tons of different medications to see what would help me. None of them truly did. So I just settled on one, was like, sure, why not? And I just stayed on it for a bit. Maybe gain a bunch of weight, but who cares? It's fine. And I didn't notice it made me gain weight until I suddenly dropped weight when I went off of it. But so my last 2 years of high school was crying. No, I cried. No, I didn't. I had very supportive friends and a very supportive family. My sister was in the school system with me. We actually found out there were 2 other people with Tourette syndrome, 2 or 3 actually, while I was there. One person in my year, one in my sister, actually weirdly, one person in my year, one person in the year ahead of me, which is my sister's year, and one person 2 years below me, which is my brother's year. So that was really wild. But I wasn't alone, so it was who cares? Nobody made it a big deal. And again, after we were able to calm down those initial giant body tics, I was able to be a normal high school teen. And then over the summer, it just seemed like from senior year to the summer after that, it seemed like, I barely tick, it's fine. Like, I'm not gonna not refer to myself as someone, not necessarily not refer to myself as someone who has Tourette's, but it's not relevant and it will never come up, is how I thought of it. So, go to college, it's the first year, it's the first month, very exciting, make some friends, see everybody, get strep throat, and then have that re-trigger my tics. And I had told the nurse, hey, you need to swab me because my throat hurts and I need you to check if I have strep and I need you to treat it right away because I know as someone who has Tourette syndrome, if you have strep, you can trigger it to get a lot worse or trigger it to like come back, with the tics at least. Well, the test is supposed to take 2 days. So 2 weeks later, she calls me. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I forgot to call. Yeah, no worries. It's already, I confirmed. You know what I mean? Like, bro, I'm a dead horse. Oh, no, sorry. I have to do the other side because now it's, why do I fake tics? I try to explain to you like a tic I had at the time and then I just practically give it to myself right now. It's not what I'm trying for. So college is very interesting with tics. It helps you get to know a lot of people because you stick out a lot more, you're pretty unique. Sometimes it would be a little bit annoying if someone say, hey, this is Raven, she has Tourette's, and it's like, wow, really? Just gonna say that for me when I'm right here and I can, 1, explain it myself, 2, it is not always immediately relevant for other people to know about me. And if I tick in front of them, I'm happy to be like, oh, I have Tourette's, by the way, that was a tic. But when you announce it before I tick or I can announce it myself, it just feels, it might not be true, but to me, I feel like that person is gonna look at me and wait for a tic to be like, is it like true? I don't know. It's probably me getting in my own head and being self-conscious. It's fine. But anyway, so the tics were here from about 18 to maybe 20-ish. So by my senior year, I hadn't had any noticeable tics that I knew. I think now looking back, I think I have had tics probably the whole time, but they were so subtle I didn't know they were tics. And that's something like minor facial movements. Like I have to like I would do like these weird lip rolling things to make certain pieces of my lip touch my nose or my chin, which I'm realizing is probably not a normal thing. So that's probably a tic. And I'm sure there are other things that there's even times where I'll have a full vocal tic and someone will laugh and make a joke and I'm like, what'd I say? I ain't paying attention. I do this all day. Why I gotta listen all the time? It's exhausting. So yeah, by 20, they're kind of gone again. Kind of forgot. I would tick every once in a while. It never fully went away after that point. Or maybe I was just more aware of it. There was a minor stint when I was 22 to 24. Or 23 and 24, where I did tick a little bit more than I had been when I was in my lull period. And so I was like, oh, but it didn't really do too much. It did come up because I ticked one of the first times I met my husband. We met on a kickball, like a recreational kickball league, and we were on the same team. So we're at the bar after, and alcohol, well, actually you might not know, but alcohol can aggravate your tics. So we're having a drink. I tick, and he's like, what's that? And I'm like, oh, I have Tourette syndrome. Let's see how he responds. And he was dope about it. It's literally fine. It's like very fascinating. I agree. And so I had that, but then not too much after that. Like it was something he knew about me. And a lot of people in my life knew about, but it wasn't really prevalent. Like you weren't going to see me tick. Or if you did, you wouldn't know it was a tick. It was so subtle. But then February 2020, out of nowhere, now I'm ticking again. And they're not the tics from before. The tics from before were a lot of motor tics, a lot of my movements, and not as much vocal. Or if they were vocal, they would be very repetitive. It would be the same phrases over and over. So in college, I had a British accent. Not like casually in college, just like as a tic, obviously. I don't know if people go through a British accent in college phase, but I would say like, have you got to let her? Have you got to let her? There's a baby in my pocket and I dropped the baby out the window, stuff like that. Casual things like that. So with those, yeah, they were like short, but I would say the same thing over and over. And I never said anything that inappropriate. Like I didn't have any swearing tics. So February 2020, I am, stuff about the virus was starting to come out more and spreading across the world. We all know how this goes. I had one of my first tics was a cough. And now I know a lot of people in the tic community have had some struggles with having a coughing tic and people getting upset at you and giving you dirty looks during this time period because you're coughing, but you cannot help it. So I didn't have that kind of coughing tic. I wasn't actually pretending to cough. I was not pretending. I wasn't tic coughing. I was just saying the word cough. I would just cough like, why? So that started in the first 2 weeks. I had tics about coughs and dogs. And I was like, oh, that's weird. Like, maybe it'll go away. I don't know. So I hid it from people for about a month. Because I was like, well, if it goes away in like a month, it's like weird to announce it and like tell people and then have people be like, oh, okay. And then it goes away. And it's like, it'll make me feel like I lied to everyone or make me think that they'll think I lied, even though I know I didn't, because random things happen to my body sometimes. And so I hid that for about a month. And so I finally am like, you know what? I'm going to have to tell my manager about this. It was a blessing in disguise. Bitch, it was a fucked up cat. It was fucked. It's a fucked up cat. It's a fucked up cat. It was a blessing in disguise that we started working remotely because that month, from starting ticking February to us all going remotely mid-March, was terrible. It was so hard. All day long, I would think about how can I let my tics out? What tics can I squeak out without anyone noticing and without accidentally triggering a bigger tic? Where can I go that I can just let them all out surreptitiously? Like, I'd go into the bathroom and I just tick away in the stall as long as I knew no one else was in there. If I was walking to and from work, I would be loud. I would let everything out because I wanted to make sure I could give myself the energy to hold it in later. I can now only suppress for about an hour at a time. And even then, the consequences are still like a huge string of tics afterwards. If I try for over an hour, I'm basically asking for a tic attack, which is pretty unpleasant. No matter how you get them or how long they last. Although luckily mine have not lasted hours like some people. Mine has luckily been under 20 minutes. And they're just so much more unpleasant. Like, I feel like there's like static buzzing on the back of my skull that's like pinching. I don't know. And I know tic attacks are always a little bit different. All it really means is that you're having a large amount of tics in a certain period of time. You'll see me fight through a tic. And when you're in a tic attack, that's not your body anymore. Tourette's is like, this is mine. Tourette's is the rat again. It's gotten you. And you are powerless for however long your tic attack goes on for. It's very important to try to relax and get yourself in a safe space. Also maybe physically, because you could be physically harming yourself. I've punched myself in the face more times than I can count this year. I have smashed my phone against my own face and given myself a little egg. I cover that with a bang, little egg bump from smacking myself. But you know what? The tics have been here for a year. I don't know when they're going to go away, but my story is just as valid as someone who has them very consistently their whole life. And it's taken me till now to realize it actually is maybe a little selfish of me to be shy about sharing my story, because I bet there's someone else out there who has the same imposter syndrome as me. And now that I have coprolalia, which is the swearing tics, which it's not the swearing, I shouldn't call it that. Coprolalia is the tics that are inappropriate. So coprolalia is the vocal ones. Copraxia, I'm going to put it right here on the screen. Copraxia is inappropriate motor tics. So that's when I flip people off. Like, I flipped off that officer one time by accident. I don't think he noticed. I was very nervous. I did not mean to flip him off. I just was flipping everything off for the last 3 weeks when that happened. My husband has been flipped off so many more times in his life than he has ever been flipped off. Oh, what I was saying about coprolalia is I felt like I couldn't share my story now that I have those, because only 10% of people with Tourette's have coprolalia, the swearing tics. But so much of the media covers just that 10%. And so it makes everyone assume that everyone with tics is going to be swearing or else you're invalid, which is false. But then I realized I was invalidating my experience by saying I wasn't valid enough because I was the mainstream portrayal of Tourette's. But at the same time, like, that is literally my life. Like, I should be allowed to exist like this, / I have no choice but to exist like this. There's no cure for Tourette's. So if you have any questions about Tourette's, about tic disorders, about my personal experience, feel free to ask away. I am very open. I am very happy to talk about my tics. I'm going to post this, and I hope that even one person benefits from seeing this video, even if that one person is maybe me editing this. Although, fun fact, with Tourette's, or tics in general, even if it's not Tourette's, if it's a tic disorder or it's a fucked up cat, it's a fucked up cat, it's a fucked up cat, it's a fucked up cat. So when I'm editing this footage right now, and you just saw that string of tics, I'm gonna set myself off. So the whole time I'm going to be editing me, I'm going to be triggering myself. Just remember that for however many tics you saw in this video, it took triple probably as many tics to make this video happen because of how long it takes me to edit it and how often I am probably re-triggering myself while I'm in the editing phase. Thanks for listening to my story. I appreciate it, and I hope you have a lovely day. I'm a cat. No, I'm a dad. No, I'm small. These things don't necessarily have to be mutually exclusive. Babe. Hey, do you want to go to what today? Oh, I'm gonna give myself British tics now. Oh, crap. 6:23. I'm gonna quietly get ready for work. Now I'm at a regular volume going to sign on to the kickoff meeting.